Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to Run It Back. I'm Gabriel Steigers.
And I'm Ryan Cartman, excited to have you back to recap another great weekend in sports.
A heartbreaking loss at Arrowhead for the Jayhawks, MLB playoffs starting tomorrow, KU volleyball, swim, and much more.
Well, Gabe, we're heading into MLB playoffs, and there's a lot to talk about. What are your thoughts on the playoffs right now as a Kansas City Royals fan? Heading to Baltimore to take on the Orioles for a 3-game series.
The last time the Royals were in the playoffs, I was 11 years old.
Ooh.
I remember I was just sitting on the couch with the family watching that 2015 World Series, so it feels really, really good to be back in. On the other end, how are your Dodgers?
Well, last time the Dodgers were in the playoffs, I was 19 years old, so not too long ago. And, we lost to another divisional opponent in the Diamondbacks, so off record, but this is on record too. I don't want to face the Diamondbacks or the Padres, man. I can't lose to another divisional opponent.
At least you've got that bye coming up. That's got to feel pretty good.
Feels pretty good,
as
yeah.
a Dodgers fan. But just generally, I'm excited for the playoffs. I feel like last year was generally a pretty forgettable year, and I think baseball is back on top this year. They've got that like play-in stuff today happening between the Braves and the Mets, which is really good.
Yeah, well, we're definitely looking at an action-packed slate of postseason baseball for sure, man. But now if we shift gears to KU football, man, that loss to TCU really stung.
It did. I'm right there with you. I brought the family out for family weekend, and I had to apologize to them. They'd never been to a KU football game, and it was such a poor performance. But, you know, it's hopefully we figure out a way to bounce back. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, it was a tough game for family weekend, but will we see a turnaround from the Jalen Daniels and the Jayhawks? Let's first take a look back at what happened at Arrowhead.
Here's Bianca with the recap.
Thanks, Gabriel and Ryan. It's been a tough season for our Jayhawks. Unfortunately, we were faced with another defeat. Just this past weekend, TCU beat Kansas 38-27. The game was held in Kansas City at Arrowhead Stadium, watched by over 47,000 fans. Both teams were battling back and forth, and the game featured 6 lead changes. The Jayhawks started strong with a forced turnover on TCU's first drive, leading to a 54-yard touchdown drive, capped by a 14-yard pass from quarterback Jalen Daniels to Grimm, making it 7-0. TCU quickly tied the game with a 92-yard drive, finishing with a 35-yard touchdown pass. Kansas responded with a rushing touchdown from Neal and regained the lead with a field goal after an interception by safety O.J. Burrows. However, TCU answered with a touchdown drive to lead 21-17 at halftime. In the second half, Kansas briefly retook the lead with a touchdown from Shaw, but TCU's Damon Greaves scored on an 89-yard punt return to make it 28-24. Kansas senior wide receiver Luke Grimm caught 6 passes for 85 yards and a touchdown, while redshirt junior Daniel Shaw Jr. rushed for 85 yards on 13 carries, and senior Devin Neal added 70 yards on 14 carries. Kansas pulled closer with another field goal, but TCU extended its lead with a 59-yard touchdown pass, ultimately sealing the game with the field goal. Next, Kansas travels to Tempe, Arizona to face Arizona State on October 5th at 7 p.m. The game will be aired on ESPN, and we hope our Jayhawks can clutch a win on the season. Now, let's send it over to Caden to hear about KU golf.
Thanks for the update, Bianca. A shame we couldn't win this week, but hopefully next week we'll have a better turnout. Now, as for KU men's golf, they played at the Wyndham Memorial Classic in Lake Forest, Illinois at Conway Farms Golf Club. KU was up against a tough collegiate field this week, as they finished 6th place out of 16 teams with a team score of +11. Leading the way for the Jayhawks was freshman Maximilian Jelitnik, whose 2-day total score was +2, which put him at a tie for 19th place. Maximilian shot a stress-free 71 in round 1 and followed that up with another solid round of 73. Following closely behind for KU, we have Luke Honer and the U.S. Open qualifier Gunnar Broin. Gunnar shot a respectable 3 over par, which put him at a tie for 22nd place. Luke shot a solid 4 over par, which put him at a tie for 25th place. Now, the remaining golfers for KU were William King, who finished with a 2-day total score to make it 43rd place, and Noah Holtzman finishing at 79th place for a 2-day total score of 15 over par. And their next tournament is at the KU Big 12 Match Play in Houston, Texas, from October 7th to October 9th at the clubs at Houston Oaks. Next up, we'll hear from Alex to talk about KU volleyball. Well, Alex, did KU spike the competition this week?
Thanks for that update, Caden. I can't wait to see how their performance continues throughout the year. After a disappointing loss last week to Creighton, the Lady Jayhawk volleyball team went undefeated this week against UCF and Houston at home. The Jayhawks took down the UCF Knights 3-0 Wednesday night. London Davis led the way for the Jayhawks with 14 kills on just 23 total attacks, leading to a .609 hitting percentage. For the defense, Reagan Burns led with 11 digs to add to her team leading total. Houston put up a little better fight, but it still wasn't enough with Kansas winning 3-1. Toyosi Anabanjo was the leader for the offense with 13 kills on a .545 hitting percentage. Caroline Bien led the other way with 14 digs. 5 Jayhawks had double-digit digs, which will come in handy later in the season to create a more spread offense. When we come back from the break, Gabe and Ryan will be here to give us a rundown on what's next.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
Welcome back to Run It Back. Up next, we got coverage of our high school football game of the week and recaps from the world of college and NFL football.
That's right, Ryan. Here's Jacob with his coverage of Lawrence High versus Gardner Edgerton.
Okay. The game has started off very exciting, with both teams showing great strength. On the very first drive for Lawrence, senior quarterback Banks Bowen throws a big touchdown pass to junior Taj Edwards to get on the board 7-0. On the very next drive, Gardner responds with a toss to senior Richard Vandenberg to get the Trailblazers on the board, and after stopping Lawrence on the next drive, senior Brevane Powell throws a 49-yard touchdown pass to Vandenberg to get up 14-7 in the first quarter. On the next drive for Lawrence, quarterback Banks Bowen shows his skills as a dual-threat quarterback, but the drive ends with a sack leading to the second quarter. In the second quarter, Gardner had possession first, but were stopped, giving Lawrence a chance to respond. And after the long drive for the Lions, with an offensive fumble recovery and with the help of 2 DPI calls, senior Banks Bowen nails the goal line to tie Gardner 14-14. Gardner then quickly responds on the next drive with a striking pass to senior Tim Schrader to get them in the red zone, leading to a third first-half touchdown for Richard Vandenberg on a toss play. Gardner taking the lead 21-14 in the half. And to start the second half, Gardner held possession for the ball for the majority of the quarter, ultimately leading to failing a fourth down conversion, giving Lawrence a perfect chance to respond, and respond they did, marching all the way down the field to get into the red zone to try to tie the Trailblazers. But unfortunately, due to penalties, they were stopped, giving them a chance on fourth down to convert, which they did not convert, unfortunately, ending a fairly short third quarter. The score is still 21-14, Gardner up. And so far in the second half, both drives have ended in failing a fourth down conversion, and yet that happened again at the start of the fourth, with Gardner again driving all the way down the field only to end in another fourth down conversion, failing another fourth down conversion. Lawrence then goes all the way down the field to the 10-yard line, but they're yet again stopped on fourth down. Gardner then immediately rips off a big run by senior Brevane Powell down to the Lawrence territory. Brevane then runs for 3 more plays before pushing it into the end zone for 6, giving Gardner a 28-14 lead. Then, on the very next play for Lawrence, Banks Bowen throws a pick to sophomore Penn McCall, putting a knife into the hearts of all Lawrence High. And then Gardner pushed that knife a little deeper with junior Suri Padilla rushing for a touchdown and giving them an even bigger 35-14 lead. Lawrence then drove down the field to score in a garbage time touchdown. Things got a little chippy at the end, but Gardner came out with the victory, 35-21. Now to toss it to Grant for more news on the NFL.
Thanks for that game recap, Jacob. Now let's turn things over from Friday Night Lights to college football Saturday. And wow, what a weekend it was for college football. Let's start it off with Virginia Tech taking on number 7 Miami at Hard Rock Stadium. This was a great back and forth game with both quarterbacks balling. However, the ending of the game is all anybody was talking about. And that's because Virginia Tech's quarterback Kyron Drones unleashed a prayer downfield. And to be honest, I'm still unsure if it was caught or not. because while that play was ruled a touchdown on the field, after a lengthy review, it was overturned and Miami won the game and moves on to 5-0. But let's move on. And speaking of teams with an unbeaten record, number 6, Ole Miss was hosting Kentucky Saturday afternoon. And I think it's safe to say the Wildcats overstayed their welcome, as Brock Vandergriff led the way for the Wildcats with over 200 yards in the air, including a touchdown, as the Wildcats upset Ole Miss. That game was crazy, but it doesn't even compare to the all-out war we got to watch in primetime, as number 2 Georgia took a road trip into Bryant-Denny Stadium to take on the number 4 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. And as scary as it is to see the Bulldogs driving anywhere, Alabama was ready as the Crimson Tide took a 28-0 lead early in the game. The offense got going in the second half for Georgia as they erased that deficit and took the lead late in the game following a 67-yard bomb from Carson Beck to Dylan Bell. That lead would last all of 20 seconds because Jalen Milroe would connect with the 17-year-old phenom Ryan Williams on a massive 75-yard touchdown to reclaim the lead. Beck and the Bulldogs would march down the field looking to answer, but true freshman corner Xavier Brown saved the day for the Crimson Tide by intercepting Carson Beck with only 44 seconds left. Now, it's safe to say the college football world was shaken up this week, but now I want to turn things over to Grant Shear for his NFL Weekend Recap. Take it away, Grant.
Thank you for that rundown, Tyler. An exciting college football Saturday paired with an electric NFL Sunday calls for a great weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how much better of a weekend we could have asked for. Jumping right into the 4th week of the NFL season, the Cowboys and Giants matched up in a divisional game, with the game coming down to the wire in a 20-15 Cowboys victory. Despite the loss, Giants receiver Malik Neighbors had a career-high 15 targets. The Cowboys advanced to 2-2, and the Giants fall to 1-3. Now for an exciting Sunday slate, the Packers and Vikings matched up in a divisional game. The Vikings jump out to a 28-7 lead, but then slowly over the 4th quarter lose that lead. With under a minute left, the Vikings lead the Packers 31-29. The Packers' comeback was halted in the last minute, and the Vikings win 31-29. MVP favorite Sam Darnold with 275 yards and 3 touchdowns. A 2-1 matchup between the Eagles and the Buccaneers started with the Buccaneers firing off 24-0. The Eagles tried to claw their way back into the game, but the Buccaneers pull away and win 33-16. Baker Mayfield led the charge with 347 yards in the air and 3 touchdowns. Bucky Irving continues to make a name for himself as he racked up 49 yards and a touchdown. The closest game of the day, the Broncos and Jets face off in a low-scoring defensive masterclass. The Jets miss a last-second 50-yard field goal to win the game, and the Broncos come away victorious. Aaron Rodgers walks off the field with a limp, something to worry about if you're a Jets fan. Going into the afternoon slate, the Chiefs and Chargers matched up in a classic AFC West face-off. Chiefs receiver Rashee Rice unfortunately left the game with an injury. No worries for the Chiefs as they sneak past their in-division rivals 17-10. Mahomes continues with a rocky start to the season, but despite the injuries and inconsistencies, the Chiefs begin the season 4-0. To finish off the Sunday slate, the Ravens and Bills matched up. The Ravens strike first as running back Derrick Henry breaks off an 87-yard touchdown run. That wouldn't be his only touchdown of the day, as he went for a receiving touchdown as well. Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson went on to steamroll the 3-0 Bills 35-10 in an impressive victory to end the weekend slate. That was a quick NFL rundown for the week. For a deeper dive into the world of college football and the NFL, go check out the B Team Sports podcast on YouTube and Spotify. Now heading back to break, we'll be back shortly to hear from Gabe and Ryan.
I'm going to the bathroom. Will you watch my drink?
Of course. Hey, can you come pick me up?
A special surprise coming up, as we mentioned earlier, those MLB playoffs are just around the corner, and I sat down with Trevor to predict the bracket. Ryan, who do you have taking the Fall Classic this year?
Is that a question?
Well, yeah, I just asked.
Well, okay, it's the Dodgers. It's the Dodgers, man. It's my team, man. I got to go with the Dodgers, man. Ohtani getting that 50-50 season, 59 steals, had 54, 55 home runs to go with it, I think. I don't know the numbers exactly, but I got to go with my Dodgers, man.
It was certainly a big year in LA, but I just don't believe. You'll see who I picked later. Well, before we get there, though, here's Jude with his Fantasy 5.
After Monday Night Football tonight, we will officially be a quarter way through the NFL season. Fantasy rosters are starting to take shape, and I've been getting a lot of questions from panicking fantasy owners. They've been asking, I don't know what trades to make. My team is in shambles. So today, we are going to take you through some reliable and cheap trade targets at each position. Now, first up at the quarterback position, we've got Jared Goff of the Detroit Lions. Through the first 3 weeks, he only has 3 touchdowns to his 4 interceptions. Now, this is pretty rare. I think he's got the best room of offensive playmakers in the league. And he has yet this season to score more than 15 fantasy points, and I expect that to change tonight, Monday Night Football against the Seattle Seahawks. Next up at the running back position, we've got Josh Jacobs of the Green Bay Packers. Believe it or not, I've had this guy recommended him for the last 2 weeks as well. He's averaging 94 yards per game rushing, and he has 10.8 fantasy points per game without scoring a touchdown. Now, I expect this streak to end, and when that does, his scoring output will drastically increase. Jordan Love is returning, and the offense is going to open up more, so that's why Jacobs is my trade target once again this week. Next up at the tight end position, we've got, wide receiver, we've got Courtland Sutton of the Denver Broncos. Now, Courtland Sutton is struggling from the main part. The reason we haven't seen the most from him is because of quarterback play. Now, Bo Nix is a rookie, but as we see Bo Nix settle in and kind of find his feet and ground himself in the NFL, I think we're going to see a drastic rise in production and consistency. I mean, Sutton has been targeted 36 times so far this season, and he's only been able to catch 15 of those balls. So as Bo Nix gets more comfortable, I think we're going to see a big jump from Courtland Sutton. Next up at the tight end position now, we've got Zach Ertz of the Washington Commanders. Now, the tight end position is really tough in the NFL, especially in fantasy because of they have such a low offensive volume. So if you're getting 4 receptions, that's great. That's great from a tight end. So that's exactly what you're getting with Zach Ertz. It's nothing special, but he'll get you 4 receptions. And right now he's averaging 8 fantasy points per game. Now, that's not going to go win you a week, not going to win you a matchup, but it's just enough to get you by, and that's why I think he's a cheap and reliable target. Next up, finally in the flex position, we've got Jerry Jeudy of the Cleveland Browns. Now, Jeudy is playing opposite of Amari Cooper, and so far this season, he has 18 catches for 197 yards and a touchdown. But most importantly, he's been consistent. He's averaging right around 11.4 points per game, and he's been doing that pretty much every game. And that's what you want in the flex position. You want somebody who's reliable and who's going to go get you those points. So these guys are all cheap. And remember, I've seen so many people throw their seasons down the drain by overpaying on trades. So if you're going to go get any of these guys, make sure that you're getting them cheap. And that's why they're on this list. So thank you for watching. That's all I've got, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, Jude. I'm Trevor Burns here with Gabe. Today we're talking about some postseason baseball. Best time of the year, right?
I'm excited. I've infiltrated Trevor's segment today to run through the postseason bracket, which as of today is not 100% set, but will be by the end of the weekend. So we're going to run through it and talk about some matchups.
Let's jump right into it. So in the AL wildcard, we got Baltimore and Kansas City. I'm going Baltimore here.
Maybe it's a homer pick, but I like Kansas City for a couple reasons, but I do see them losing in the next round regardless. Same with Baltimore.
Absolutely agree with you. All right, we're going to the other American League wildcard matchup. We got Houston versus Detroit. I think this is an easy one. Got to go Houston.
Houston. Detroit's been a good story, but
yes,
not quite.
Not quite up to par quite yet. In the NL, we've got San Diego and the New York Mets. I like San Diego here. I think they're a great team. I think that's an easy one.
I do too. I like San Diego. They've got more of a recent postseason resume.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Good squad.
Going to the other wild card matchup in the NL, we've got Milwaukee versus the Diamondbacks. Milwaukee is an easy pick here, in my opinion. I don't think that's going to be much of a matchup.
I like it. People forget that the Diamondbacks played in the World Series last year, but I like Milwaukee here. They're a punchy squad.
Yeah. Yep. Moving on to the ALDS, Baltimore and Kansas City versus New York. I picked Baltimore. You picked Kansas City. I think either way they lose to New York here.
Yep. I think New York is going to be the favorite out there. Cleveland versus Houston. Houston's got the resume. They've been to a bunch of ALCSs recently, 6 or 7 straight.
Yeah.
I like Houston.
I'm going with you on that as well. I think Houston's a safe pick here. I think it's going to be a good matchup, but that'll be close. Headed over to the NL. I like the Dodgers no matter what. I think San Diego may give them a run for their money, but I think that's an easy one.
Yeah, what a wild year in LA.
Right?
I think they've got it. And then I have the Phillies beating Milwaukee.
I think that's another easy pick. I love the Phillies. They've proven themselves time and time again, and I think that's an easy one. What do you got for the CS here?
I've got the Yankees moving on to face Philly in the World Series.
I absolutely agree. I think that is going to be a great matchup to watch. In the end, however, I think this is the year for the Phillies. I think they finally get it done after like coming close for what, 2-3 years now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I think that'll be a great matchup, and I mean, I think that's going to be more of a pitcher's duel rather than anything. I don't know about you.
I agree. I've got Phillies in 6. I think their pitching is going to carry them. They have a lot of guys who have already experienced the postseason on their team, a lot of heroics. They've got Schwarber, Harper, guys who have performed in the postseason before. And a lot of guys who have been in the postseason but have not earned a ring.
Yeah.
And are really itching for it.
I think they're coming out with fire this year. I mean, like you said, a lot of guys that have experience.
Yeah.
My boy Kyler Schwarber used to play for the Cubs, got us a ring.
Yeah.
I love him. I love their pitching staff. I think the Phillies have got it here. I like your pick in 6. I think it's going to be a fun matchup, and I'm looking forward to the rest of October baseball. And I'm really pumped for it. So I think
agree.
it'll be a good postseason and a lot of fun watching. So make sure to get a comfortable seat in your couch and get ready for some good baseball.
Yeah, a lot of fun this year. Best bracket we've had in a while. A lot of parity this year.
Absolutely agree.
We're going to send it over to Lainey, who has an exclusive interview coming up next.
Thanks, Gabe and Trevor, for those MLB updates. Now we're here joined by KU freshman club tennis player Joaquin Acosta. Joaquin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, of course. It's great to have you in the studio today. So you have been playing tennis for most of your life. What was your inspiration to start out?
I feel like I was always going to end up playing tennis. My dad played professionally when he was younger. My brother played at the national level, so I was kind of born into a tennis family. But individually, I think tennis is very different from other sports. There's a lot of room to grow as an individual. You're not on a team, so it's kind of all on you. And I think that's something that really connected with me and kept me going through my tennis career.
Yeah. So you said like it's always been a part of your family. Were you like did you ever feel forced to play it, or were you always like, okay, like they play it, like I want to be like them, or how was it for you?
I think there was definitely a little bit of that. I should be playing tennis, I've been playing for longer than I can remember, so, I was put in classes when I was 3 years old, and so there was definitely that aspect of I didn't really have a choice, but I'm kind of fortunate that I connected with the sport, and I'm really passionate about it, so I feel like I do play for myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. So like you said, tennis has always been like a big priority to you. How have you kind of balanced it with school and other activities?
Sure. As a freshman at KU, I haven't really gotten to that point of, balancing everything, but in high school, I would say I definitely didn't balance it at first, but my coach was actually my English teacher, and so he really helped me kind of get my rhythm going and find a balance to be able to do everything and stay on top of my goals. And
yeah, it's great that you had that opportunity to have one of your teachers as your coach. Definitely. And then like earlier on, were you ever wanting to get involved in other sports or other activities, or was it always just centered on tennis?
Yeah, when I started playing tennis, I started playing soccer. So I played both for about 12 years before I quit soccer to do tennis full time.
Okay, cool. And then, so you played tennis the past 4 years at Blue Valley High School with constant competition. How was that experience playing there different than your club experience
Absolutely.
Now here at KU?
High school tennis was really weird for me because I was very used to playing at the highest level I could. With high school, it's really all over the place. Sometimes you play players that are much better than you, and sometimes you play players that aren't. So that threw me off a lot, and here at KU Club Tennis, the competition is so much higher. So going back to that is definitely a big change.
Yes, well, I wish you the best of luck here at KU and competing at the next level, and I hope that everything looks up for you this year and the next few years.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for coming on today. And now we are headed to Cooper with this week's game show.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to play guessing games. Here's your host, Cooper Hannon.
Hey, everybody. Good evening. We are back with another segment of Guessing Games. We got another new face today. Tyler, his defending champion. How about we meet the new face? Send it down on down. What we got?
Hi, everyone. I'm Bianca Fazio.
All right, Bianca, are you excited to go into this game?
Really excited.
All right, well, Tyler, you defending champion, so?
I'm looking to improve my record to 2-0 this season.
Hey, love to hear it. So let's get right into question one. Get out your note cards, get out whatever you need. But here we go. Let's get right into it. Okay. Name one of the 4 NBA teams that do not end with the letter S. You have 4 options here. We're just looking for one. Any takers?
Buzz.
Tyler?
Give me the Orlando Magic.
Orlando Magic would be one of the 4. You had 4 options, Tyler. There you go. You are first on the board with 1 point. How about we go right into question 2? All right, this Major League Baseball team is looking to break the record for most ever losses in the modern day era.
You got this one?
I think you got it.
Buzz. I'll
Tyler?
take the Chicago White Sox.
Tyler coming out hot. 2-0 to start today. He's up 2-0. Bianca, it's still early.
Can still come back.
Can still definitely come back, but we're going to need a little bit more out of you. Here we go. Move on to question 3. Name one Week 1 starting quarterback from the AFC West. So you do have 4 options here. We're just looking for one. Just one of the quarterbacks.
You got this one, surely.
AFC West.
AFC West.
Chiefs division.
Oh, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, there it is. So, yeah, that is Patrick Mahomes right there in the second option. You had 4 to choose from, but yes, Patrick Mahomes. So now it's 2-1. All right. Next question right here. All right. This is about college football. 2 top 5 teams are facing off this weekend. We're just looking for the game. 2 top 5 teams.
Georgia and Alabama.
Georgia and Alabama. Wow. She's coming back. She's coming up. But do not. Hey, 2-2. This is a big one. The final question. And guess what? It's worth triple points.
Oh, no.
So good thing. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because it's 2-2. But hey, this could have been,
Winner
this could have
takes
been.
all.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
winner takes all. This is for all the marbles right here. So we will move on right into the last question. Let's see it. This former basketball player is known as the Black Mamba. Okay. Oh, Bianca, you
Got
knew that
it.
right
I'm
away.
ready. Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant, you are correct. Bianca comes and steals the thunder from Tyler. Wow, electric. Way to go, Bianca. Calm, cool, and collected. Down 2-0, takes the lead, and won the game. How do you feel?
It's a comeback, Had to come back.
And is there anyone special you'd like to recognize for this victory or anything?
No, I don't have anyone to recognize.
All right. Well, Tyler, what are your thoughts?
First of all, we can cut this out in post. You can tab over.
Guys, who
all
was I
right.
supposed to recognize?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
All right. I would just like to say I'm sorry to my fans. I would just like to say that I should have been more aggressive today. We didn't have it in us today. It wasn't in the cards.
It's all right. You know what? Sometimes failure is the best way to learn. But without further ado, Bianca, let's see who you will play next week in the next game show. All right, spin that wheel. Let's see it. Let's see it.
Alrighty, let's see who it is.
Okay, here it is. Here it is. Okay. Oh, maybe. So you will be playing Trevor Burns next week, hoping to stay on the game show. Trevor, if you are watching this, do some knowledge, do some research, whatever you got to do, because next week you will be live. And that is it from us. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us for the latest in sports.
Make sure to catch Good Morning KU Sports this Friday at 10 a.m. For everybody in the studio making the show possible, I'm Ryan Cartman.
And I'm Gabriel Steigers. Thank you for running it back with us. We'll see you next week.